Hey, what's going on, my fellow peeps and peepettes? Welcome back to the Spotlight Review Station. If you are viewing this, I appreciate it. If not, well, I can understand because I'm late to the game. Very late. Anyway, I hope there isn't too much of a glare in this one. I'm still trying to work out that situation, but for right now, I think so far we're in the clear, but we'll see. Anyway, let's see how well this one comes out. This is the Spotlight review on the long anticipated, and I'm sorry I'm late to the game, Transformers Earthrise War for Cybertron Trilogy Wave 2 Deluxe Class Arcee. So, let's go ahead and put the figure aside for a moment so we can take a look at the packaging. That's right, I don't have a package. I have the instructions. That's gonna have to do. So yeah, that's something. Right. So I've been sitting on the fence of reviewing this figure for a very long time. That's why I don't have the packaging anymore. I threw it out, unfortunately. So there's a lot of reviewers out there that's already taken a look at this one, that dived into it in quite the better detail than I actually can. But I'm going to do my best here, so, you know, feel free to check them out and then come back to me if you really want to see that packaging. You know, go to them first, then come back here, because I'm going to go into detail as much as I can about this figure. Starting off with, of course, the alternate mode, her vehicle form, her Cybertronian car, which looks good. Alright, first of all, I'll admit, when it looks good, it looks good. When it works, and this does work. This looks great until you look at the back. And yeah, we got some legs sticking out there. Oh well, it is what it is. The front looks good. Got the headlights here that are, they look painted. I'm not so sure. It kind of looks like it's a very light gray here, but it also kind of blends in with the white here, so when I put it in the light more, it kind of looks like it's just plain white. I don't know. Anyway, she does have an Autobot symbol right here at the hood. So, of course, other than that, not much else to really say. She's basically a brick on wheels. That's how it is. Oh, sorry you had to see that. Yeah, we'll get to that in just a moment. But she does roll when the transformation is correct on this figure. Taking her from vehicle form to robot mode is a simpler task compared to putting her back in her vehicle form. It's just, if you don't line up the panels on this figure, if you don't have the legs pegged in properly, if you don't have her arms behind her back in this mode, she will not roll right. She just skids. And when she skids, obviously you're scraping some bit of the plastic on the figure, but it takes a little trial and error, but after a while you'll get adjusted to it, and then you'll know whether or not you got the transformation down right. But as it is, she does roll good, I'll admit. She does have clear wheels here, which of course in the cartoon she's a hovering car, which makes sense. It gives that illusion that it is hovering above the ground, which is nice. So there are some good points about this vehicle form. It looks good. I could use a little more paint. I'm going to nitpick about that, but I'll let it slide. But the real killer about this figure has to be that transformation. But we'll get to it in just a moment as we do a quick side-by-side comparisons for the end portion of this parter. Here is the IDW styled Arcee figure from the Thrilling 30th, which is almost a decade old if I'm not mistaken. This figure, still to this day, is the best Arcee that we have on the market, or had on the market. If you can find this one and get it for cheap on eBay or TFW in the buy, sell, and trade column, you know what? Pick her up. If you have the opportunity, pick her up. She still holds up really good to this day. This plastic feels really good compared to what is going on here. This plastic, you know, it's not as shiny. It doesn't feel right. It feels a bit cheap, like this is a bootleg figure, and you think with that transformation this is a bootleg, but it's not. This is an officially licensed action figure by Hasbro and Takara Tomy. That's the surprise. Anyway, I mean, just look at the difference here. Again, this is supposed to be based off of her Generation 1 cartoon design. This is supposed to be based off of her IDW design, but it just still, in my opinion, holds up extremely well compared to the new Arcee that we have here. It's just So good. So good. And I love the black on this. I just love it. And I love that metallic blue. Still a good figure in my opinion. Alright, so now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and start the transformation on this one, which, again, easier to go from vehicle form to robot mode. So I'm doing this the right way, rather than starting off with the robot mode like some reviewers have done, and then working my way to the vehicle form, which would be a nightmare. Yeah, anyway, let's go ahead and detach the legs and swing them down. That's the first step. Detach, swing down, detach these hips from these pegs here that they peg into. And as you can see, we've got pretty much a good chunk of the robot already done. We'll go ahead and rotate at the lower thigh section, because there's actually 2 sections at the thighs where they swivel. Impressive. But let's do the transformation anyway. So there we go. Alright, now that that's all said and done, what we can do now is we can grab the figure, hope for the best here at this point, and kind of detach her, because this pin piece here, as you can see, she's got a huge hole in her back, but that's where that goes into. Okay, that explains that. Some people don't, to this point, at this day, still don't know what exactly that big hole is for. Well, it's for that. Okay, now you know, and knowing is half the battle. Right, so anyway, now we can just swing out her arms, rotate her head, which, you know, of course I'm doing this out of the steps that is shown off in the instructions, but even the instructions aren't clear about a few things. But yeah, there's the robot mode already. Let's go ahead and clean this up a bit. We can take these panels here, and we're gonna flip these in right here behind the wheels, and then we can take the wheel panels and we can flip them in like so, and then we'll come up here and we will first remove the blaster. I didn't even realize that was still there. Anyway, we'll get to that in just a moment. But now we can take this front piece and we can detach it from the hood of the car and flip it back behind her head. Now that we have all this clearance here, what we can do is we can take now the front wheel sections and we can fold them in like so to this cavity, which is going to create her backpack. And now we've got this double hinge here, which we're going to slide down like so to make it look better. And then we will rotate, or you know what, let's just go ahead and remove this. We'll just remove it because, you know, she looks a lot better without it, in my opinion, as ever anybody else should really say, really. Yeah, there you go. There's Arcee in her robot mode, and she looks magnificent. Alright, no lie. This is where the figure really does shine. Unless you turn her to the back and then you see all this hollow bits going on here with the legs. Wow, that is something. Quite a mess there, but you're not really going to display your figure from the back. It's really from the front. So it's the front that what really counts, and this looks incredible. I love this. I love it. Alright, this figure has its pros and it has a lot of cons. But when it really comes down to it, most of the pros are made up with that slick looking, sexy robot mode. The way Arcee is supposed to be. Magnificent work here. Alright, transformation aside, this is where it really pays off. She looks great. She looks just like her cartoon counterpart, except she's missing some fine details and some paint work at the face and the red lips, which is unfortunate. But it is something I can take care of myself if I want to. I just choose not to at this point. But yeah, I mean, there really isn't much to really complain about except for the legs. But yeah, I mean, she does have some real big heels in the back, but that's also to counterbalance so much of this backpack here that she has to carry around. And she is very stable. As you can see, she's not going to fall over anytime soon, especially when I go about doing this. And hopefully I can do this real quickly. So like this. Now we got to just here, and it just, you know, this is supposed to be a screen here, but I'm sure it's flush. It's not flush. This doesn't like in place, it won't stay in place. It just keeps falling off very easily. Anyway, this one is still that well, but anyway, so we're going to now the backpack here. Yes, this nice piece is our backpack, and it's not going in. And maybe I'm not going in. I'm not surprised. It's not going in. You don't have this problem. You go this time. For some reason, it's just not going in now. Anyway, for what I've got here, there you go. She's got her giant backpack, which, you know, I said that these heel spurs do support it, and they do. Right? I don't know why she fell over that easily, but there you go. She does hold up. See? very secure. I'm hitting this hard and she ain't falling over. So when it works, it works. And in my opinion, yes, it's an eyesore, but it's not really that bad. For some reason, it looks like she's going camping. And for some real reason, it does kind of work for the figure. I don't know why that is. You know, I gotta say, the Thrilling 30th figure, for comparisons, her backpack, you know, it's no streamlined butterfly either. So, I mean, this just, for what it is, you know, I know a lot of people hate it, but you can also, for an option, remove it if you want. You can't do that with the Thrilling 30th. And this actually becomes something else in terms of that. You can actually flip out these panels here, fold this in, like so, and there you go. She's got an optional hoverboard. Right, so she could go around flying the streets of Cybertron and blasting Decepticons from the air, which is something pretty cool. A little drive-by or flyby, whichever you want to call it. And she does have some places she can peg her feet in, and she holds up pretty secured, as you can see. I mean, look at that. Look at that. No effort whatsoever. I did just a simple peg in, and she holds up, and she's leaning forward. She's leaning forward, and she still holds on this thing like a dream. Look at that. So it does have its good points. Yeah, it's a little cheap looking. I mean, it's just basically the back of her caboose here in her vehicle form, making up a little bit of some wings here to make it kind of look like a hoverboard. But when it works, and it does work here. So I'm actually pretty good. I mean, I don't have anything to complain about it, really. And here's a look at her blaster, which we haven't looked at just yet. It's hard to see the details. My camera really does not want to pick this up because it's all done out of clear plastic, unfortunately, with a bit of a frosting there. So it's not completely clear, but it just, yeah, you're not going to see any of these details really. And if you can make out any of this on my camera, I'll be astonished. But anyway, we'll go ahead and put that in her hands. And she does hold her blaster pretty good. You know, it's a little loose fitting, but it's in there and it will hold up just fine. She also has the option to peg it in the back of her caboose here, her own caboose, if you want, for storage. First few times it's kind of scary when you go about trying to remove this because it is pretty tight, but after a while it does get loose to the point where it just fits in like a glove and it can be removed with a little less force. So there you go. There's an option for the figure. And of course, options are you know what. So that's Arcee. There's not much else to really showcase here, so we'll go ahead and remove her from her hoverboard and set it aside. So more to the articulation. She does have somewhat of a ball joint at the head, but it's restricted because of the sculpting of the back. We do have universal shoulder joints. They are hindered because of the backpack. What are you going to do? She's got bicep swivel cut. Single jointed elbows that does get more than 9 degrees of play, and that's all you can really ask for. A hinge joint at the wrist. We also have a swivel cut at the waist section, universal joints at the hips for this much kicking forward at the legs, this much going back. You can't pull off a full JCVD split, but it is what it is. We have a thigh swivel cut above at the hips. We also have another thigh swivel cut here due to transformation. Double jointed knees that does get more than it really needs because she's basically kicking her butt at this point. We have a hinge joint for up and down movement at the feet, which also includes that lovely ankle rocker pivot that only Hasbro really knows how to pull off perfectly. I'll center her up real quickly so we can get a quick side-by-side comparisons with the leader of the Autobots from Earthrise. Here's Optimus Prime, so you can get a good comparisons between this Deluxe figure and this Voyager leader, well, sorry, leader class figure. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Anyway, yeah, so she comes up to about his chest region, right about there, which is a pretty good size. And as for one more comparisons, here she is with the Thrilling 30 of Arcee for comparisons, and as you can see, they're pretty much the same height. Different features, especially with the light piping here, which I miss light pipe figures, but for what it is, I mean, again, she's no streamlined butterfly. From the front, her proportions look kind of lanky, especially with those skinny arms. And at the back, I mean, there's nothing that can be done about this backpack. She does have quite the bit of her vehicle form just tucked up back here In comparisons to the Deluxe figure we have today from Earthrise, most of the backpack is right here, which is, you know, the option to remove it or to keep it on her is a given. It's a plus, and I do appreciate that. So, you know, I commend Hasbro and Takara Tomy on their effort to try and execute something that is quite impossible at this size. But when it comes to it, the execution, the decision that they made, it really does approve for this figure. It really does. In my opinion, this Arcee is packing a lot of heat compared to the Thrilling 30th here, which has really not that many options. So, you know, I gotta give it to her. She may not be as good as the Thrilling 30th, especially in the terms of her quality and the way she feels as cheap plastic, but for what it is, she does look a lot better than the Thrilling 30th. But I really do like this IDW style figure. This figure still holds up in my opinion. But in my honest opinion, if you could not get the Thrilling 30th, go with this one. I mean, she's leaps and bounds better. Not speaking in the quality of the plastic, but for what she looks like in her robot mode, this is where the figure really does shine for a lot of people, including me. Outside of that, I still like this figure, especially her vehicle form, which just looks so streamlined. Based off of her IDW counterpart, she looks amazing. Now, for her vehicle form, you know, it is what it is. It's just a copy and paste of her cartoon design, which I'm fine with, but it doesn't really have that much package. I mean, you've got basically what you're supposed to get, but it doesn't have that much to really go into detail about. I mean, there's paint apps missing on it compared to the actual artwork that you can find online, and that's a disappointment. This spoiler piece here is supposed to be pink, and it's for some reason translucent, and I don't understand that. What's their fascination about that? I have no idea, but it continues to be a common trend. I do wish she actually had another area to store her blaster, like the IDW Arcee here. I love that sidearm option. I love it. I wish that this Arcee had that option, but she doesn't. But to be honest, if she did give that, if she was given that option, she of course would have more hollow bits at the legs. So from what you're seeing here from the front, not so bad. From the back, oh man, what a mess. Do we really need one more slot on this leg? I don't think so. So it is what it is. But this is really based on my opinion. Your results are going to be different. But to let you guys know, is she worth the pickup? Yes, she actually is, believe it or not. It's really the robot mode where this figure is giving it its all. I mean, this is where Hasbro and Takara Tomy really put all their attention into. The option to transform her into her vehicle form was obviously second. So, you know, it is what it is. But not a lot of people actually displayed their figures in their vehicle form. So when it really comes down to real robot form, you can't get any better than this unless we get a Studio Series 86 Arcee down the pipeline. And I look forward to that day. I await that announcement. Give it to us, Hasbro. We deserve one more opportunity. One last chance to give us the best Arcee figure we've ever had for the Chug line. So, that's it. I'm going to leave these two here as I close out. If you have any questions or comments, you know the do. Hit it down below in the comment section of the video. If you like today's video review, hit the thumbs up button. Don't forget to give me a sub up. If you didn't like it, hit the thumbs down. Don't forget to throw in the towel. And until next time, my friends, this is your unprofessional toy reviewer, Res Power, sign off saying thank you very much for watching this, and I will see you whenever you see me.